Caio Borralho and Nassoudine Imavov finally agreed. Now, Caio has been calling out Nassoudine, I believe, for months. I think it's been for months, but at least for weeks. Ever since Imavov beat Adesanya, and then ever since we're like, oh, Dana's already saying Khamzat Chimaev is going to go out there and fight Dricus du Plessis. Imavov either has to wait or he has to fight. And Caio's like, if you're going to fight, fight me. And Imavov was like, should I do that? Should I not? And for a long time, Imavov was basically saying he was going to try to be the backup fighter for Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis. Turns out that's not the case anymore. There was a large amount of time where everybody basically thought Imavov was going to be the backup for UFC 319, Dricus du Plessis, Khamzat Chimaev. Now he comes out just randomly, 2:15 p.m. today, just out of nowhere, and says no backup anymore. The conditions have changed, so maybe the UFC are saying you gotta go win another fight, or we're not gonna give you a title shot. Maybe there's some sort of UFC pressure for him just not to be the backup fighter, to actually go out there and try to get a win. So I am curious what those conditions are, because he just said no backup anymore. Conditions change. I'm very curious what those conditions are. He says, you wanted to talk, son. I am here, and I am going to break you. Caio Borralho. So he's basically saying, well, now that these conditions have changed, now that I'm no longer the backup fighter for UFC 319, Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus du Plessis, well, then no longer am I going to sit around waiting for things to happen. I want you, Caio Borralho. And Caio responded, I'm going to take a while to find it real quick. Caio actually responded. Let's see if I can find it. He says, finally stopped hiding, huh? Because Imavov, again, was taking forever, not doing anything, just sitting there, basically waiting to become a backup. Not even saying, oh, I'll fight Caio Borralho on that same card, and, if there's a cancellation, I'll step up. He didn't want to fight at all. He just wanted to be that backup fighter. Now that's off the table. Caio Borralho responds, finally stopped hiding, huh? Question mark. You don't call anything. You do what you're told. You tried to avoid this fight for so long, and everybody knows that. Now, you will do exactly what I commanded. Fight me. I make the rules here. Say bye-bye to France. I'm sending you back to Dagestan. So he's basically saying he's in charge in this situation now that he doesn't have the leverage of being the backup fighter anymore. Caio is basically saying, I'm not going to fight you in France. We're going where I want to go, and you'll do what you'll do what I say, Nassoudine Imavov. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I've wanted this fight to make a clear, concise number one contender for a while. I thought this was the thing to do, the fight to make for a while. I don't know how it's been this long. It's just Imavov wanted that backup spot. It's been this long just to get this to this point. And we finally got it. Imavov finally says, yes, I want Caio Borralho. I love it. I love it because this is a clear, both guys on good win streaks, both guys coming off very good wins. Caio, absolute masterclass against Jared Cannonier. Imavov lost round one, then knocked out Israel Adesanya. I love this fight. Number one contender matchup here in the middleweight division. Khamzat versus Dricus. I'm hoping they book this for 5 rounds on the same card. UFC 319. Put this as the co-main event and still have Imavov as the backup. I don't understand what's so hard about that. What is so hard about that? I know you want Imavov in France, because maybe Manon Fioros lost a little hype. Benoit Santini lost a little bit of hype. Is he going to be able to main event a card? There's some of those unknowns. Imavov is a clear, concise main event for France. I don't see it. Put it on UFC 319, co-main event. If anything happens, Imavov steps up. If not, we got a clear number one contender fight. What do we do in UFC? Book the damn fight. Come on. Let's go into other news. Venicius Oliveira, Lock Dog, one of my favorite kind of up-and-coming guys. He's only like 3-0 or 4-0 inside of the UFC. But he's really fun, puts on the pace, puts on the pressure. He gasses out in a lot of his fights, but it's kind of like a Dricus du Plessis gas out, where he looks visibly exhausted, but he is not. maybe he is, but he fights through it. Maybe that makes a little bit more sense. He is so tired and so out of breath, but he still comes forward. He puts on the pace while being so out of breath. So it's not like, oh, he's tired and I can put on the pressure, because he's still throwing at you and he's still coming at you. So he's got he's got that Dricus du Plessis cardio to him. And I was watching an interview yesterday with Venicius Oliveira. If you don't know who Venicius Oliveira is, we will go over the UFC rankings just to verify in case you guys are a little bit more of casuals. He is number 15. He is the number 15 ranked UFC bantamweight in the world. I legitimately think he should be number 14 or number 13. That's just my personal preference. He says he will beat Morab De Oliveira, and this is how he says he's going to do it. He says a lot of fighters lose to Morab because they go in scared. They go into to fight Morab, and they're scared. They're scared about the takedown. They're scared about the threat of the cardio in the later rounds. They're that fear is holding them back. Venicius Oliveira says he's not even worried about the wrestling. He's not worried about the cardio. He trusts his skills, and he plans to go in there and fight with Morab De Oliveira. And he says he thinks he can actually take Morab down. I mean, yeah, we've actually seen cases of that where Morab has been taken down. I believe Umar landed a takedown on Morab. Nobody's controlling Morab on the ground, but yeah, he's saying he can take Morab down. Okay, all right, maybe you can. Maybe you can. Is it going to be worth it? Probably not. He's going to get right back up. But he goes on to, go a little bit crazy after that. And he says, I can take Morab down and I can tire him out by just staying on the attack constantly. For him, it's all about having the right mindset and not letting fear get in the way. So he's not afraid of Morab's wrestling. He's not afraid of Morab's cardio. He says he's going to stay on the attack against Morab the entire fight, come forward, and he's going to tire out Morab. And he's going to take down... I don't know. I think that's a little crazy. I'm going to say, I think that's a little crazy, Venicius. But if he's able to do it, oh my God. I think it's crazy, but I respect the words coming out of his mouth, because at least he's getting people talking. There's a lot of people on here commenting that didn't know who Venicius Oliveira is. Now they do. And he does have that great cardio, that Dricus du Plessis cardio, where it looks bad, but it is good. We'll see what happens. Venicius is an interesting up-and-comer. He's taking on Kyler Phillips, I think at UFC 318. I think so. We'll see what happens in his career. We got Sugar Sean O'Malley. He was joking here, but he says, I beat Morab De Oliveira 8 times out of 10. If you don't know what that means, he's fought him twice. He's lost twice. So he's going to beat him the other eight times. Probably not. I would say he loses to Morab 9 out of 10 times. I think he might be able to squeeze one victory in. Just one. But other than that, probably not. Probably not. I don't think so. The biggest news of the day besides Imavov and Caio Borralho has to be this, okay? I actually broke this news earlier today, about 7 hours ago. Per sources, the fight between Paulo Costa and Roman Kopylov has been canceled for UFC 317. And that's not it. Confirmed by another reporter, it is actually being rebooked for UFC 318. So it's being moved to the pay-per-view next. It was supposed to be happening on June 28th. Now it's on July, I think, 16th. When is UFC 318? July 19th, I think. I could be getting that wrong. Someone correct me down below. But we don't know the reason yet. I reported it, and I didn't even know the reason. I just knew it was canceled because I had multiple sources confirming that to me. Now, UFC 317 has one less fight. And UFC 318, well, obviously has one more fight. If we look at UFC 317 now, this is International Fight Week. This is the card of the year in the UFC. And at the moment, we got Brandon Royval, Josh Van. Very, very good. We have Viviane Tracy, Renato Benil, Pantoja Kai, Charles Anil. It's a good card. It's a very solid card. But that means only 5 fights on this card have ranked fights. That's it. International Fight Week, 5 fights have ranked fighters on it. The whole prelims. If Brandon Royval moves to the main card, and if Viviane Araújo, Tracy Cortez, if that moves to the main card and make it a 5-fight main card, the entire prelims will be unranked. The entire prelims. Now, am I saying it's bad? No. They got undefeated Alvin Hines. They got Felipe Lima, great up-and-comer, Jacoby Smith, Jose Delgado, Haider Amir. It's a banger card. But what I'm saying is the entire prelims are filled with unranked fighters because they only have 5 ranked fights on this entire card. 11 fights. That's all UFC 317 is left with. That's it. I'm hearing rumblings. I'm seeing in the comments right now. I'm actually hearing rumblings. They are trying to add one more fight. They are trying to add one more fight. Is that going to happen 100%? I don't know. Are they trying to? Yes. One more fight they want to add to UFC 317 to make it a 12-fight UFC pay-per-view. We'll see what happens in the next coming days. But as of right now, only 11 fights and only 5 fights have ranked opposition. We go to UFC 318, which just got the addition of Paulo Costa and Roman Kopylov. And for a while there, this wasn't really looking like a pay-per-view. I'm going to be honest. The prelims look great. I'll say it right now. The prelims look very solid. Kyler and Venicius, Neil Magny, Ikram Aliskerov, Bruno Ferrer, Islam Dulatov. I mean, the prelims are looking solid. They're looking fun. Ate Bagatier. It's looking like a fun prelims. But the main card, before today, before Roman Kopylov, Paulo Costa got moved, this was the main card. Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, a non-title fight, just BMF matchup. Co-main event was Marvin Vettori, Brendan Allen. And then the featured fight today, before this switcheroo, was Dan Ige, Patricio Pitbull. And then I'm assuming they would have probably done Ikram and Bruno on there and Kyler and Vinicius or something like that. That would be a pay-per-view. UFC 318 was just looking, it was not looking good. It was just not looking good at all. Paulo versus Roman, it helps it. Now there's 13 fights on the card. This is still not a top-tier UFC pay-per-view. This is a bottom 50%, 100% pay-per-view. Is it still a fun card? Are there still fun fights? Yeah. But it had it had to do with the suffering of UFC 317. UFC 317 suffered just so UFC 318 wouldn't be utterly horrible. So, I don't know. I'm hoping they add another fight to UFC 317. Please, UFC. For the love of God. Last but not least, Conor McGregor. What is he doing? Let's watch the video real quick. Shocking moment. Conor McGregor floors a reveler with 2 left hooks. What is he doing? So this guy comes up to him. They start talking for like 10 seconds. Right here. Footage shows from the Sun, ex-UFC star, striking him in. The guy comes up to him. They exchange literally like a few words. Conor goes, bop, bop. He just gets down like this. Looks at him. Left hook. And this was this morning. This was this morning. Earlier today. What is he doing? What? That's it for MMA news. That's it. For big MMA news. We got some smaller MMA news to look at. But what are all the big MMA news today is horrible. I mean, we did have this. This was, thank God. We had Imavov, Caio Borralho finally agree, but we got a cancellation. We got UFC 318, which isn't looking good. Like you're saying, UFC 318 needs a co-main event badly. Come on. UFC 318, it needs one right now. They better book a co-main event. Like a legit co-main event. Seriously, why? Why is Marvin Vettori, Brendan Allen, which I wouldn't even want as a main event of a fight night, why is that the co-main event of a pay-per-view? What? What are we doing? Then we got Venicius Oliveira. He's a delusional MMA fighter, but you gotta respect it, saying he's gonna tire out Morab. Let's go to some smaller MMA news. We do have Andre Fili taking on Christian Rodriguez. I was about to say Carlos Rodriguez. I don't know who that is. Christian Rodriguez versus Andre Fili. I think this fight was actually like a call out a few months ago. I remember C-Rod calling out Andre, or Andre calling out C-Rod. I actually remember this vividly. But the fight's booked. Is it booked on in front of a crowd? No. It's in the UFC Apex. It's a very, very fun back and forth striking affair in my opinion. And it's going to be in the Apex. What are we doing? We're putting this fun fight in the Apex. Yet again, the Apex ruins a very good fight. I got C-Rod winning, but why is it in the Apex? Seriously. This one's good. I love this. I actually want... This is my personal way of doing things. We did it in the welterweight matchmaker video yesterday, if you guys want to go check it out. I wanted Oban to win this weekend and fight Li Jingliang in China, Shanghai, China in August. And I wanted Andreas Gustafsson to fight Michael Chiesa in Paris. I think that's a good name. That's a former main eventer. That's a former ranked welterweight and lightweight. A big name for Andreas to win in front of the Paris crowd. This is looking great as well. I have no problem doing Chiesa versus Li Jingliang in China, flipping these fights around, and doing Gustafsson versus Oban Elliott, two Europeans going at it, 3-0 versus 1-0, domination versus a guy coming off some good wins, but not necessarily dominant wins. But this is a good fight. This is a very, very good fight. European fans would absolutely love it. And it was Andreas calling him out. Oban, I don't even know what he was replying to. Said definitely not. Oban Elliott, UFC Paris, gangster versus Viking? Question mark, says Andreas Gustafsson. I actually like that fight a lot. I actually like this fight a lot. Who would I go to win? I'd probably go Oban just because I think he's got the clear better striking and he's got good wrestling and grappling. He does have good wrestling and grappling. I think this was verbally agreed a few days ago, but it was signed, I believe, today or yesterday or something like that. Announced by the UFC for UFC 319, Drakkar Klose taking on Edson Barboza. Not a bad fight. Edson's finally coming back up from the featherweight division to the lightweight division to take on Drakkar Klose. I think this is a banger. I think this is 100% a banger. Is Edson back at 155? Yes. The weight cut was going crazy for Edson Barboza. I'll go Edson Barboza to win this one by a decision, but I think he rocks Drakkar at least once in that fight. We got another fight added to UFC 319 today. Bobby Green taking on Diego Ferreira, also on August 16th in the lightweight division. Who do I got winning this one? I'll go Diego Ferreira. I'm going to go Diego Ferreira. I like Diego a lot. I'm going to go Diego. I'm going to go Diego decision. I think he could possibly get a submission win on here. But I'm gonna go Diego Ferreira decision in that fight. Then we did have Jacqueline Calvacani. She wants to return in UFC Paris pay-per-view. She actually replied to this post I made. She wants to return in Paris against Irene Aldana. And I'm not opposed to that fight at all. Not opposed. Irene probably wants to fight on the September UFC Noche Texas card. But Jacqueline Calvacani, she loves UFC Paris. She loves fighting there. So why not do that? Miles Johns, he's going to be fighting, who was it? What's the dude's name? John Matsumoto. He just signed a new UFC contract ahead of his next fight. It wasn't announced yesterday when I posted this. He's got a fight booked. It is against, drumroll please. I already said, John Matsumoto. Not a bad fight. I believe it's August 9th or August 2nd. Not a bad fight though. Miles Johns versus John Matsumoto is the guy coming off that close loss to Rob Font on short notice. So props to that guy for sure. Then we did have, I think we did that one yesterday. As well. This I think is today. No? I might have done this today, but I know who he's fighting. So I haven't posted that yet, but I know who he's fighting. Elijah Smith, he said yesterday he's going to be fighting on August 9th in the UFC Apex. Let me think. I'm going to go on my phone. I have the fighter on the tip of my tongue that he's fighting. I have it in my drafts on Instagram. Can I remember who it is before I look it up? I know who it is, man. I know who it is. Toshiomi Kazama. Toshiomi Kazama, August 9th in the UFC Apex. I don't really know where Toshiomi Kazama's been, but he's really inactive. Toshiomi Kazama, Tapology. He's coming off a win, I believe, which is weird. I think he's like 1-2 in the UFC. Yeah, 1-2, coming off the Charalampus Grigoru win. Literally it's going to be about a year to the day when he fights Elijah Smith. So, pretty interesting there. Not a bad fight. Good, just another win for Elijah to keep on trudging through in the UFC and gain more UFC experience. So, not a bad fight. Austin Bashi taking on Francis Marshall on August 2nd. Also, in the UFC Apex. What are we doing? Bashi debuted against C-Rod. He lost a decision, clear and concise. I believe he might have won round 1, and then he lost the next 2, taking on Francis Marshall, which also is no easy fight. This is a tough matchup for Austin Bashi. 2 younger guys, 2 very, very good up-and-comers that have bright futures in the UFC. This one could literally go either way. I got Elijah Smith beating Toshiomi, and I'm going to go with Austin Bashi here. Barely. Split decision, really close fight. Cedricas Dumas, fight news coming soon. I believe it's against a debuting opponent, is what I heard. It was supposed to be against, I'm forgetting the name, but he's supposed to fight a debuting guy. That got moved around. Now he's supposed to fight somebody else. But he's got fight news coming soon, just weeks after he got released from jail. I don't know how that happened. He already got a contract. He already signed a contract. Crazy. But Dumas says fight news coming soon. I'm curious to see who it's going to be because I saw the first opponent. It was an undefeated up-and-comer outside of the UFC. I don't know who the new guy is going to be. We shall see. Then last but not least, Dione Barboza. She wants to return also in UFC Paris, and she does want, who was it? Veronica Hardy. She wants Veronica Hardy in Paris. We'll see if that does get booked. But that is it for today's MMA news. That's our small, big, and medium MMA news, of course, the biggest being Imavov versus Caio. Please book this fight, UFC. God damn. Please book the fight. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah.